Hello and welcome to this daily breakthrough video with Sunil, where every day is extraordinary. And today I'm going to talk about how to be unstoppable naturally for yourself without force, without having to convince yourself in some artificial way, but how to be naturally unstoppable, creating a breakthrough in your freedom, your ability to choose, and your ability to express your full power. Uh, and so you could say that every decision you have to make is like a test. And it's a test that either you're going to go down either of two paths. One path is where you express your natural power, your ability to choose for yourself. And the other path is where you're swayed. And most people, when they are swayed, what they try to do is eliminate all the options in front of them that until they have one. And that's you could say an easy way, you could say it's a cop out, it's quite accurate. Not bad, but it doesn't leave power in your hands, it leaves power in the hands of you having to cut out all the options until you're left with one, right? Rather than you choosing the one that expresses who you are and is thought out consciously for yourself. So you could say it's an exercise in being mindful and conscious rather than being swayed by the decision or the lack of decision. So you can also choose to choose for yourself or choose to not choose. In other words, be swayed until, somehow the elements of the universe line up and gives you the perfect choice. And I feel for humanity, myself included, because we are all human when it comes to making decisions and choices. And our tendency is to go to being powerless because that's what survival, which is very much part of our genetics and our evolution and our way of being, kicks in and tells us, well, you shouldn't choose for yourself. You should just choose because it's the safest choice, or because it's a choice that you don't have to make. You can procrastinate on it. So I don't have to deal with it. I don't have to suffer through this or deal with what I have to deal with in order to make a powerful choice. And what I'm advocating is having a freedom of choice, because if you truly choose for yourself, then you have made a breakthrough already. And that's one of the most powerful ways to live, I assert. Because again, it's not something external that's determining what you do, but you could say something for yourself that you choose because you say so. And you saying so creates your world and how you want it to look, rather than the circumstances, right? Okay, so the other outcome out of this process is that you're going to learn to trust yourself. What does that mean? It means trusting yourself specifically in your ability to make decisions for yourself and to lead them to success more often than not. Doesn't mean you won't make mistakes. It means that the mistakes are yours and that you can recover from them. It also means that you can make decisions that lead to success. And success defined in your own way. So, if you're struggling with decisions, this is a great video to watch. So you could say, I'm going to talk about a story. I'm not going to make this abstract for you. I'm going to start making it very specific in my own life, how I applied this. But I'm going to frame this in a particular way by sharing 5 stages, what I call the 5 stages of transformation that I use in coaching people. So there are 5 stages. The first is awareness, being aware of what's going on. And we'll dive into that. Second is normalizing what you're feeling or experiencing. Normalizing means you can be with it to the point where the emotions that are coming up in awareness are not hooking you. They're not swaying you unnecessarily. You can be with it. Doesn't mean it disappears completely. It means that you have a facility to be with it, just like your arm. You can be with your arm. You don't keep going, oh, my arm, it's horrible. Similarly, if a fear comes up, you can be with it. The third place is to create a new context, a new vision for yourself, or reclaim the vision that you may already have, that you may have forgotten when you got stuck in this decision. The fourth place is to create systems and structures that will take you from where you're at to the success. What systems and structures you need to place so that your context can become reality, concrete reality, physical reality, you could say. The fifth stage is where you create accountability from taking you from where you're at to where you need to go. So in 1991, I was struggling with a decision to do a business fully. And I was working full-time as an engineer, which I loved. I loved doing the job, but I wanted to do more. And I was struggling with, should I do it? Should I do the business even? Should I do it fully? Should I hire my coach, my mentor at that time, who wanted quite a bit of money for what he was charging for? It was about $1,000. I was making, it was $1,000 a month, but I was making about 40 grand a year in my salary. So quite a strong decision, and I was going back and forth. And I finally, broke through it. My coach kind of worked me through it too, but he let me choose for myself, which was very, very cool. And I felt really empowered in the process. The first step was the awareness. What I advocate is when you do awareness, you want to do two kinds of awareness, a couple of other kinds as well. But the two main kinds are what I call SIFT, in getting present to your certain body experiences, etc., that are inherent in your experience. And secondly, to notice certain things that are going on in your mind. So SIFT stands for SIFT, sensations, images, feelings, and thoughts. And so sensations, I looked at my body and I felt, wow, there's a little bit of tension here around my chest area, my heart, my lungs. I'm not breathing as much, feeling kind of frowning here. I'm almost feeling it right now as I'm speaking. A little tight in the shoulders, not sitting up straight. So you're noticing things about your body and the sensations. Images, I started going in my mind and looking, what are the images? And I saw this scary image of me failing and having to give up my job and go back to my country that I came from. It was a pretty vivid image for me, but just being with it after a while, just noticing it, I noticed the sensations and the images were getting less and less intense. The feelings were, fear, it was a stark fear and showing up in my body again in certain ways, but certainly the emotion was a fear. There was quite a bit of frustration, like, why can't I just choose? Why can't I just decide? Frustration. There was some resignation, like just wanting to give up, not do anything. And then there was guilt, like I was going to do the wrong thing and fail, and then I would let my parents down. There's a lot of guilt around that, right? And I just kept noticing it, and then the more I noticed it, the less intense it became. And I found like, wow, okay, I can actually be with what's coming up. I can actually let it be. I don't have to get hooked by it. I can observe it like an observer, but not necessarily get embroiled in it, even though I'm the main player. But I'm also the main observer. So I can be the main observer of the main player, myself, in the play. And you can do that. It's not weird. It's not strange. You can do that. It's inherently part of your biology. The second thing I noticed was that my resistance to making a decision was a common theme in my life, and that there were costs and payoffs of living my life in resisting making clear decisions. The costs were pretty clear. I wasn't feeling great. I was unhappy. I was stressed out. The stress was coming primarily from the resistance to the decision. I knew that logically, right? I knew it. I could see it. And the other costs were, I noticed, I wasn't making as much money as I wanted to. I wasn't fully self-expressed and alive. I was always resisting this. I was allowing the fear and the frustration, the resignation and the guilt to stop me. I saw the cost of that. There was no self-expression. There's no freedom. There's no power in the game of deciding this and doing a business or doing a job, for that matter, because I didn't own it fully. And that ownership led to me. The experience was like one leg was going in one direction, and the other leg was going in a different direction. And I said, "Wow, this is crazy. I want to get both legs going in the same direction, right?" But the more interesting thing was looking at the payoffs of resisting that decision. Well, one payoff was I got to stay comfortable in my life. Nothing wrong with it, except, well, the payoff was comfortable. I didn't have to, decide this or learn how to sell or learn how to enroll people or learn how to negotiate. Didn't have to do all that. It was comfortable. It could have avoid the full ownership and responsibility of what I wanted to do and achieve. On the one hand, wow, I want to be this great business person. On the other hand, I wasn't willing to do what it took to get there fully, right? At least it occurred that way. Other payoffs were that I got to be more and more right about how bad and wrong I was. Now, that might sound crazy, but it's true. Some of us, not most, but some of us are in a mode where we get comfortable in making ourselves wrong because we stay, again, kind of small. We don't play big. Because to play big, you have to make mistakes. You have to take risks. And it's more comfortable staying in the small world rather than the big, expansive world, right? If I stayed in the home country that I was in, I would have played a small game. But moving to America was this big game, and it was uncomfortable making that decision. So I said, if I made that decision, even though my parents helped me out, etc., I could still make this decision. Why couldn't I do that, right? So now I was beginning to shift as I got more aware of these payoffs and costs. Started seeing how this whole thing, I started disassembling how this whole thing was put together by me throughout my evolution from a kid to an adult, how it made decisions that stuck in how I made decisions. I decided how I was going to make decisions from a young kid that kept me comfortable, that kept me safe, but didn't really produce a lot of power and self-expression as an adult. So I hope that's making sense for you. So, then I looked at my context. Like, what do I want to really create in my business? Well, I want to create self-expression, freedom, joy, be able to make a difference for people, to think creatively, because I loved my creativity. I want to express it more. I loved my job. It was fairly creative, but I wanted more. I wanted to be more in the domain of humans rather than machines, which is what I was dealing with a lot. So I created that context of being fully self-expressed and powerful and having the full artistry of my self-expression be out there. And that excited me. And again, wow, okay, that's really the game that's worth playing. And so I was faced with a choice now. Inside of that context, what do I choose? Do the business or stay small? Well, it was easy at that point. Now, I could have chosen to stay small, and I could have been okay with it inside of that context, but it would have been a little weird, right? So the context made it pretty clear for me to choose the business, and I chose it fully. The next step, the fourth step, was to create systems and structures. So I started, one of the first things I did was to, I believe, my memory serves me right, was to get my business license, because I thought I needed one. And then to start creating measures, activities, etc. And then the next thing was to hire my coach, and I made that happen. Again, from the context, it was not from I had to do this. It was and trying to force myself to do it. No, I was very clear that this is the way to go. And you know what? I still felt the fear. I still felt the frustration. I still felt the resignation. But there was something else present, which was the context. The context of self-expression and power was much bigger than all these fears and frustrations, and I knew that now. And so I created the accountability with my coach until I got fulfillment. And, in a couple of months, my coach and I actually, because he helped me out too, and I gave him a portion of proceedings. But I made a lot of money in those next 6 months that enabled me to buy a house within the next year. And that's the kind of breakthroughs that you can create once you can allow yourself to get out of the way, but more importantly, get out of your way naturally and from your own self-expression rather than being pushed or pushing yourself in some unnatural fashion. So I hope that makes sense. I hope that helps you, and I look forward to helping you more in the future. Take care. Have a great day.